Welcome back to another segment with Conversations with the Ministers Cafe, where we try to have real church talk with church folk. Today's topic is racism, prejudice, and judgment. About a week ago, my significant other and I went to a superstore or a super grocery store. And in the event, I parked my vehicle in the fire lane. She disembarked. I stayed with the vehicle, so I was waiting for her to come out of the superstore. And in the event, a patron comes out and decides to walk toward my vehicle. So she said to me, "This is a fire zone area, sir." And I said, "I understand that, ma'am. I'm in the vehicle. If there's a fire or any event of emergency, I'm able to move my vehicle out of the way." She immediately say that to me. She typically contacts the police or she tries to tell management that people are parking here illegally. So again, I comforted the lady by telling her I would move in case of an emergency. And immediately she went from calmness to rage, and she told me that I should go back to my country. So it kind of resonated in me a little bit. I said, "Go back to my country." So she continued to walk closer and closer to me and elaborate what I was doing and why I should go back to my country. So I said to her, I said, "Ma'am," I said, "this is my country." I explained to her that I was born in Brooklyn. And I immediately asked her, "Where were you born?" And she said, "America." And I said, "Well, ma'am, I served this country 2 tours in the Persian Gulf. So I fought for you to have the right to have or say or do whatever you needed to do in this country." I was angry, and I wrote a few passages of scriptures down that I had to really reflect on. And the first scripture that I reflected on was Ephesians 4:26. And it says, "Be angry, but sin not." I had righteous anger, but I was wondering, why did this lady say this to me? It really bothered me after we exchanged words, and I kind of felt guilty. Did I speak to her in an aggressive tone, or was I righteous in what I did? So what I did was I consulted with some of my colleagues and some of people that I knew that's biblical scholars, and it directed me to some passages of scriptures. And the first passage of scripture that I was directed to was Genesis 1:26. And I'm paraphrasing everything because I'm limited on time, but I really want to get this over to you, what God says about this. God said in Genesis 1:26, "Let us make man in our own image." That being said, we are made not in a physical image, but a spiritual image, a spiritual thinking of God. And then further down in the 28th verse, he said, "You have dominion, or we will give you dominion over the fowl of the air, fish in the sea, all the creeping things." So when I thought about dominion, I thought about the ideology of racism. Racism is oppressing a people, trying to have dominion over them, which is evil. And I was wondering why racism and prejudice is so evil. The Bible tells us why it's evil. And then I started thinking further, and I thought about Proverbs 21:2. And I'm paraphrasing that scripture as well. Man thinks he's right in his own way. And I thought about that lady when she thought she was right by telling me to go back to my country. But then immediately I thought about what God said in Genesis. She passed judgment on me, because Webster characterizes the definition of prejudice as a preconceived opinion that's based on someone's opinion of me. So she pretty much judged me. She implied that I was born in another country. Obviously, she didn't know I served this great country. But in any event, the word goes back to tell us that in Matthew 7, 1-3, and again, I'm paraphrasing, "Judge not, lest ye be judged." So she judged me. So it really bothered me, and I really became concerned, and I prayed about it. And God just spoke to me in said, that's truly evil. Why is it evil? And I was going through an exchange. Why is this evil? It's evil because God said you don't have dominion over man or race of people or ethnic group or any group that's not like you. The only thing that we have dominion over is the animals, the creeping things. So at the end of the day, I meditated on it and I thought about righteous anger because I was really angry. And then I went to study righteous anger. And the righteous anger is me harboring that feeling, becoming the same person that she is, becoming prejudiced toward a different group of people without understanding them. So at the end of the day, that would be sin. If I continue to harbor that against someone else that doesn't look like me, that's a sin. That's prejudice. That's being oppressive against someone else. So in closing, I want to encourage everyone that's watching this. And this is what Luke 6:35 says. And I'm paraphrasing it again, once again. Love your enemies and do good to them. And I want to thank you for tuning in to another segment of the Minister's Cafe. And we look forward to seeing you soon. God bless you.